The purpose of today's session is we're going to teach and learn how to cook poultry correctly. We're going to start with proper preparation, and then we're going to talk about food safety, chicken safety when you're prepping chicken. 3 different ways. We're going to smoke some chicken on the smoker. We're going to spatchcock a couple of chickens and do them on the smoker, on the barbecue. And then we're also going to do some oven roasting, which you might do at home if you don't have a smoker or a barbecue. So first we're going to do, as with anything else, you always wash your hands. Cleanliness and safety is first. So make sure when you handle, especially when you handle poultry, you always wash your hands before and after. And it's very important that you keep this area very clean so you don't have any problems with cross-contamination. The scientific studies, if you take meat and you bring it to an internal temperature of 161 degrees for 15 seconds, it'll kill the salmonella. If you take it to 155 degrees for 15 minutes, it'll kill the salmonella. If you take it to 145 degrees for 45 minutes, it'll kill the salmonella. It's safe to eat, but I tried 145 degree chicken and it's like sushi. Wouldn't suggest it, just not my thing. It's safe to eat, but I don't do it. So 161, if you want to round up to be extra safe, you can do 165. The problem we all run into when we cook poultry is when we go to the supermarket, we'll often buy a turkey for Thanksgiving. We bring it home. We see the little the plastic thingy popper in the turkey that says when it pops up, it's done cooking. Or we'll get a recipe from our aunt who says, yeah, if you take the turkey and you put it into a bag and you cook it upside down and you cook it for 7 or 8 hours, it'll be good. The problem is all those things and techniques overcook poultry. They're the little plastic thermometer that they give you in a typical Thanksgiving turkey. It springs up when there's a piece of plastic that melts at a certain temperature. And when the internal temperature hits that mark, the plastic thing pops up and it's supposed to tell you it's done. I took about 6 of those thermometers and I tested them, and they all tested the same. All those plastic, and it's on my Facebook page, I put a video of it. All those plastic thermometers pop up at what temperature do you think?
161.
Nope.
145.
Nope. Keep going.
165.
Keep going.
200.
185 degrees. So if you took, and who knows what carryover temperature is, or what carryover heat is? It's like when you take a turkey out of an oven, and let's say the internal temperature is 165 degrees. If you take a large bird and set it on the counter, it's going to continue to cook, and the total temperature is going to keep rising. So on a turkey like that, if you were to take a turkey to 185 degrees, take it out, let it rest. Let's say it's a 20-pound bird. Let it rest for 45 minutes to an hour. That turkey is going to go to 195, almost 200 degrees.
So it will continue to go up.
It's going to continue to go up. And now your dark meat can handle that heat. Your breast meat cannot. If your breast meat hits 200 degrees, give it to the dog, go get a hamburger. It's done. No amount of gravy. Cooking it upside down doesn't help. Brining adds flavor, but it does not cure overcooking. If you overcook your chicken, there's nothing you can do about it. This is just a simple brine, but I want to teach these guys what 161 chicken tastes like. So they know.
Perfect.
So it's you'll just know there's not a lot of seasoning, but there's a brine and a not brine. So they'll understand when I cut into those what that means. So these went from refrigerator to 161. 3 hours is more than enough. If you have like a prime rib, like when I sous vide the prime ribs, I'll put them in a big tray. Those take 12, 14 hours because it takes all that time to raise that internal temperature. Because if you're not cooking it at 300, hoping you hit your target at 130, you're setting your sous vide machine at, whatever temperature you want, 130, 132, and it takes time to get there. So when I do the prime ribs for the lodge, if we're going to eat at 6, I'll probably get those things. I'll set them up the night before and I'll get them going at, like 3 o'clock in the morning. Salmonella is killed when you take it to 161 degrees for 15 seconds, 155 degrees for 15 minutes, or 145 degrees for 45 minutes. Now, I would never suggest taking your chicken to 145 degrees finish temperature because that's kind of gross. It's almost like sushi. But the most recommended temperatures is sometimes they just round up to 165, but the real number is 161. So what I've done is I've prepared 2 chicken breasts here. This one's just been brined in a little bit of salt and water. This one, there's no seasoning of any kind whatsoever on this chicken. It doesn't really have any flavor because it's so lean and there's no fat. Everybody knows who's done any cooking understands that fat is flavor. And chicken breast has almost no fat in it, so it's very hard to cook it correctly. Now I want you to take a sample of this one to see what the difference of a little brine tastes like. Just put like a teaspoon of sugar and a teaspoon of salt. Personally, I don't like cooking chicken breast at all. This is like, of all the parts of the chicken breast with the skin off and the bone off is probably the worst part of the chicken you could possibly get. Chicken thighs are my favorite. Dark meat is always preferable. If you are watching your fat content or if you're looking for some lean proteins, you can use chicken breast. You can add a little bit of brine, 1 gallon of water to 1 cup of salt and 1 cup of sugar. Now the salt, if you got some soy sauce, that's fine too. Just back off on the soy sauce a little bit. And 1 cup of sugar, you can use brown sugar, regular sugar. And then when you put it in your 5-gallon bucket, you put your turkey in there. Let's say you have a 16-pound bird in a 5-gallon bucket. You're gonna mix 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of salt, and a gallon of water. You're gonna mix it up till it's all poured in there and top it off with ice and clear water, and then put it in your fridge for 24 hours. That'll help you brine your turkey. The salt will move through the meat and it'll help convey the heat from the outside and the inside and keep it flavorful and moist. One of the biggest issues people have with poultry is they tend to overcook it. If you read the directions on any kind of packaging, if you look at the back of these packages, they'll say, oh, cook it at 350 degrees for 15 minutes a pound or whatever the math is. The problem is it's never accurate because you don't understand your starting temperatures. If you don't know what your starting temperature is, there's no way you can understand when your chicken is going to be done. The only way you can understand when your chicken is done is using a digital thermometer as your best friend. So what we're going to do with these chickens is we're going to prepare these for the smoker. I already have the smoker set at 300 degrees. Now, you can use a charcoal grill. I have a Traeger pellet grill. It's really convenient. But one thing you have to understand, poultry is different than other barbecue like ribs or brisket or pork because chicken has a skin on it. And if you smoke these chickens at 225 or 250 degrees, the smoke is going to absorb and make the skin kind of tough and rubbery. So for competitions, they often will smoke. If the skin is really thin, they'll smoke at 275 degrees. But I like this for these because I'm not taking out any fat under the skin. We're going to smoke these at 300 degrees. That way the fat will render. And also, aside from the fat rendering, the skin will get crispy. Otherwise, it'll get kind of tough and rubbery. So all we're going to do is it's a simple preparation. Now, here's a trick some of you might understand, especially if you are doing your Thanksgiving turkey. How many of you have prepped your Thanksgiving turkey and you put your turkey and all of a sudden it's fallen over, left or right, okay? So there's a trick. All you do is take these wings right here, you lift it up and fold it in on itself, like that. You're gonna take this right here, double it over and fold it in. See, now it's got 2 little feet right there and it's gonna keep your chicken from falling over. The thing to do when you're prepping chicken is there's no need to wash your chicken in the sink. If you can drain the blood or if there's any juices, that's fine. But there's no need, you should see I didn't really wash these chickens. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pat these dry with a towel. Then when the chicken is dry, the skin will get crispier. If you wash your chicken in the sink, there's a stronger likelihood that you're gonna splash raw chicken juice everywhere and you can cross-contaminate your chicken. So what we've done here is we've just patted these dry. I've just got a simple rub here, the store-bought rub. It's a Pappy's. I add just a little bit of brown sugar in here because we're gonna put these on the smoker. Now, it's important, you don't have to over-season these. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, a little paprika. Okay. That's all you have to do. So now we're going to take these guys and we're going to run them back over here and throw them in the smoker. for these guys, all we're gonna do, we're gonna just do a simple oven roast. Now, again, you can take these, you can pat these dry. Don't have to spend too much time on those. Now, what we can do with these too is we can also add some herbs inside for a little bit of aromatics here. Oftentimes when you add aromatics, it'll help develop flavor. So all we're going to do, we're not going to overthink this. All we're going to do is we're going to take a lime, cut it in half, throw in each cavity. Then we're going to take some of our, we got some fresh thyme, throw some fresh thyme in there. And we got a little bit of fresh oregano. If you got rosemary, I've got some rosemary down on the slope, but I use rosemary so often I want to try something else. All you want to do is take that stuff and stick it in there. Now you can use whatever seasoning you want. If you just want to use a straight salt and pepper, just taste. I mean, you use some of this rub I used before. You remember you've cleaned off your chicken, you've dried it off. If you want at home, if you want to put some oil on it first, it'll help crisp up the skin. And remember to take your wings, tuck them in there. That'll help your chicken stay upright in the oven. 350 degrees. We're gonna let these go for, probably about an hour. We'll see you soon. Spatchcocking is a technique where you cut the spine out of the chicken and it allows you to lie the chicken flat so it'll cook more evenly and faster, especially if you're going to do it on a grill. Aside from teaching basic cooking techniques, one of the other things I wanted to teach everybody is when you're cooking for the lodge and you're cooking for 30 or 40 people, we understand you guys aren't full-time cooks. You've got jobs, families, you've got stuff to do. But at the same time, as you know, the price of restaurant food has gone through the roof. Now, one of the staples that we do, we're going to do it tonight, but we do it at our lodge too, it's just like a basic refried bean. So you can either buy them in the can. We all know how canned refried beans taste like. You can go to the restaurant and buy a full tray of refried beans, and that's going to cost you with the tax. And of course, they want a tip for handing you a tray of beans. It's going to set you back $75 or more for a tray of beans. And that's only the shallow. That's not even a full deep. So what I've done is my wife taught me how to do a simple refried bean. Literally, all you have to do is cut an onion into 3 or 4 sections, brown them, rinse the beans, pour it in some water, some chicken broth, and some garlic, and turn it on and go to work. And come back and blend it, and you're done, and add some butter. So through the magic of television, I started this pot this morning, and if you can see here, all I've done is I took some dried pinto beans from the store. There are 5 pounds of pinto beans, so take your pens out. Here's the math. So this is 5 pounds of dried pinto beans that have been rinsed, making sure there's no dust or rocks, sticks, and 1.5 quarts of water per pound. So 5 pounds, what's that, 7.5 quarts? 7.5 quarts of water. Also, I've got 3 large Vidalia onions in here. And with the onions, all you do is you cut the ends off, peel it, and they cut them into thick wedges, like 1.5 inches thick. Cut an onion into like 3 sections. You can either put them in right away, or I just brown them put them in a pan, put a little bit of color on them, throw them in there, and set it at 350 degrees and go to work. That's it. Water, a couple onions, some beans, and you go to work. What happens after about 5 hours, you come back and you don't have to pre-soak these or nothing. But now the beans are nice and soft. It's really hard to overcook them because you're going to mash them up anyway. So if they're a little overcooked, that's okay. And otherwise it'll just float at the top. So by emulsifying it, it's like when you make a vinaigrette, you have to blend it, because if you just put oil and vinegar in it and let it sit, it'll separate. But if you put it into a blender and emulsify it, it'll force it to stay together. Okay, see like that? For many people that have a grill, but you don't want to get a Blackstone, you can buy one of these units that puts on your barbecue. This one has a Teflon coating on it, so because I don't want to worry about it rusting. But what I'm looking for is a surface temperature of around 350 degrees. If you take it anything past 375 or 400, you run the risk of warping your platter, depending on the maker. So this one, I like running this one at about 350. So what we're going to do is we're going to get this going. We're going to get our meat going here. Then we're going to start having some tacos. Like a Zoom meeting?
Yeah, like that.
I think your background.
I know. Yeah. That's sweet.
Just, you know,
Yeah.
hi, I'm here in Hawaii. It's a waterfall. And, you know, you got to turn up the volume, guys. Aloha.
Put in the back. Tom, what are we doing?
Oh, we're just cooking up some carne asada because these boys are hungry. So what we've done is we've prepared a couple of different kinds of chicken for you tonight. The last thing we brought out is this smoked chicken. We took this chicken, as you remember, we seasoned it up through in the smoker at 300 degrees. Now what we got is a nice chicken. We checked the internal temperature to make sure it's at least 161. This one came in at 165 degrees, which is perfect. Most important thing about any meat, especially chicken, is after you take it out, resist the urge to cut into it. You have to let it rest. You have to let it sit for at least 15 minutes for the juices to settle back in, because if you were to cut it too soon, you're going to end up getting juices all over your table. So what we've done here is we've taken out this chicken and browned up really nicely. The first thing we can do, if we wanted to, we can take off the breast. The way we do that is we find the breastbone. And all we do is we follow the rib cage all the way down the side. This is important, especially when you're trying to slice. What you do is you separate the breast from the thigh, and you follow the rib cage all the way down. You can peel this away as you go. And then the final cut come in from the side and cut through. That way you get a nice whole breast, just like that. See how it's done all the way through? You then take it across. This way, everybody gets a little piece of that skin. Who here wants to try a little bit of smoked chicken? Right? As far as for the dark meat, all you do is you grab this. You can bend it. You can bend it. Get the knuckle. Separate the thigh. All you do is you open this up, and you let the knife find the joint, and the knife will find the joint all on its own. There you got a drumstick. Nice piece of thigh. We can take off the wing the same way.